Please be seated. Church of the Holy Spirit, thank you for your warm welcome. To those of us who are wedding guests, thank you for your welcome of the life of Patrick and Roger. Thank you for welcoming their families. Thank you for being a church whose namesake I want to talk about today. But first, I want to tell you that I met Patrick Ward years ago, but I got to know him best at the very close of my time when I was rector at St. Anne's in Lincoln, when I interviewed him for an assistant position. I gathered a group of lay people to interview a variety of assistants, and after I interviewed Patrick, after the group interviewed Patrick, it was clear to all of us, in fact, we were sort of wasting the time of the other candidates, honestly. It was clear to us that he was the person we all wanted to hire. But before I hired him, I had to tell him that I have just been called to two inner city parishes in Dorchester that I was going to lead to try to help them forge a future. Their life was threatened with closure. And that, yes, we would work together, but only for 6 weeks. But I not only wanted to work with Patrick and he with me, but something I want to tell those of you who have now called him here. I knew he could do the job without me. I told him everything I knew in 6 weeks. And I knew he could do the job without me. He did an amazing job, and I could list his talents, which you're coming to know as a preacher and pastor, administrator, his gifts with liturgy, his warm spirit and wit. But along with all that, Patrick allows himself to be fully called to the people he serves. He was able to say to me, I do wish you were staying, and this is a job I thought we were going to do together, but I feel called to these people. I want to be here. I feel this is where God wants me, with or without you, Cathy. That is a rare and beautiful thing, when a leader and people are called to each other. And I feel this is true after being here with you for 2 days, that his call to you here at Holy Spirit, that he's drawn to be your rector and you are drawn to be the people that have a very important role in Roger's life. It's from you that he will learn how to be a priest here at Holy Spirit. He will take advice from you, he will create with you, he will pastor with you, but you will likely be the ones that will teach him things like time management. And as you together plant your feet into the soil of God's love in this community, I have a sense that you have the nutrients for your spiritual growth and your leaders' spiritual growth to bear fruit in the world, facing those inevitable conflicts and learning from them, letting the conflicts and the troubles you have not be roadblocks to anything, but rather just further opportunities to learn and to grow and to mature. And then the person I really want to shine the light on, Roger. He doesn't like to have the light shone on him. And we wisely no longer think that with a married couple in the rectory, we've got 2 ministers. We no longer think that way. We've had to correct that understanding of a married couple being called into a parish. But Roger, the layperson that you are, living out your faith in the world is such an incredible model for this community. Because I actually think with this married couple, you really do get to. Roger, your presence at Patrick's side, for sure. But even more, your presence being you here. Finding your voice, finding your passions, finding your place in this community of the Holy Spirit. We will, following our worship this morning, have a chance to celebrate the wedding, the marriage of Patrick and Roger, and I hope you can stay so that we can feast on the love that they share as a community. And we will do that right after the service, but before the party begins, we have Ascension to deal with. So let me begin looking at Ascension, inviting you to look at it as if through a window. If we look at a window, we might see flies in the corner of the window or specks of dust. We might see a crack where a frisbee hit it, chips of paint where the razor blade didn't scrape it all off. But if we look through a window, we see the world beyond the transparent glass. Might the Ascension be a window, giving us a glimpse into the world beyond? So let's take a look together through the window of Ascension and see what might be there for each of us this morning. Ascension Day is a feast tucked into the Easter season on a Thursday, and so it therefore very easily passes us by. And maybe it passes us by because some of us want to ignore it altogether because it makes no physical sense. As our friend Peter Hawkins said, the Ascension, I mean, really, where did the body go? Scriptures create pictures for us of the Ascension with words like he was lifted up and a cloud took him out of their sight in Luke Acts, or he's seated at the right hand of the Father in our creed. And in Ephesians, God has put all things under his feet. But I was encouraged by the reminder, and I want to remind you this morning, as we struggle to understand the Ascension, that this story is not in Mark because there was an unfinished gospel at the close of Mark. It's not in Matthew. In the Gospel of John that we heard, it is alluded to, but the actual record and story isn't in the Gospel of John. And if we look at Paul in Corinthians, we learn that Paul seemed to have experienced the appearance of Jesus, much like the disciples following his rising, and there's no liftoff in Paul's understanding. So we have the freedom to really think quite open-mindedly about the Ascension. The departure of Jesus in the story we heard in Acts, maybe it is not so much trying to tie up loose ends of the story of his body as to complete in a narrative arc Jesus rising to glory. Why did Jesus need to rise to glory? Why is rising to glory part of the narrative life of Jesus, and what does it fulfill? I like what artists do with the Ascension, and I wish I could have, we should talk Patrick into one of those large screens because we could really look at some beautiful art of the Ascension. And I encourage you, when you get home to your computers, to just look up some of the art that is done on the Ascension, because artists portray Jesus' followers, who we are assumed the ones that are standing, that are the disciples on the ground, looking up into the skies. And in some of these paintings, poking out from the bottom of a fluffy white cloud are Jesus' 2 feet. Just 2 feet. Nothing more. The last things the disciple in Acts saw on Ascension Day was Jesus' feet. Lifted above their heads as Jesus was carried up into heaven, he gave them one last image to contemplate. His feet. How human. Our feet are so human. Dust from the roads of Galilee, dirt from consorting with sinners, calluses from standing with the oppressed, blisters from walking in the shoes of the poor, holes from the nails which held him on the cross. His feet dangling out of a cloud just above a hilltop. The ascension is the incarnation in reverse. The last the disciples saw the risen Christ was his dirty, beautiful, human feet. This isn't an exercise in believing in levitation. The ascension is the feast of seeing clearly where Jesus walked and where we might walk in his footsteps. It bears witness to the completion of Jesus' purpose as he enters into the unseen realm of glory, which has 2 parts to it. The unseen realm of glory that is within each of us, our inner world, is part of the unseen realm of glory. And the world beyond, the reality beyond the horizon of what we see and touch. As Jesus' life is completed in glory, the Spirit dwelling within us connects us to the invisible world. And what is the connecting link? Your namesake. Our connecting link is the Holy Spirit. And if you stay around, you need to come back next week, because next week the Holy Spirit is going to descend upon all of you, and you can live in to the power of this namesake. Jesus' narrative arc, if he hadn't left, we would all be still looking up at him. But after he ascended and the disciples' necks got sore, they eventually had to lower their necks, and what did they see? They saw each other. They saw each other. As long as Jesus was here, he was going to get all the attention. Even when he tried to tell us over and over and over in his miracles, your faith has healed you, go in peace. Or the people lower him down, they cut a hole in the roof, and they lower Jesus because their friend is in such desperate need of healing. And what does Jesus say? Your faith has healed him. Jesus' life is about you and about me carrying on. And now we are given access through the power of the Holy Spirit in the inner world within us and the profound reality of the unseen world beyond us. Jesus had to leave, or we wouldn't be able to see each other. The ascension does not take Christ out of the world. The ascension puts Christ more completely in the world, in you, in me, in this community whose namesake is Holy Spirit. So my prayer for Roger, my prayer for Patrick, my prayer for this beautiful community gathered in the name of the Holy Spirit is that you and all of us here this morning would be given the grace and insight that we need to be the hands and the feet and the heart and the minds, truly the body of Christ. And as we go now to be fed, to be nourished, to be fueled for our work in the world by the body of Christ, let us pause in closing and just take in the words that came to us from 1 Peter. Cast all your anxiety upon him because he cares for you. Amen.